Oh no, another Disney movie. And on Disney Plus. It's a Pixar movie. God damn, I'm getting sick of those Disney films. Gotcha. Luca. It's been a while since I saw a Pixar film. Well, not exactly a while. The last one I saw was Soul, of course. And honestly, I am still withholding that Soul should not have deserved the Oscar. Because I found Soul very pretentious. It's a good movie, no less, but I found it too pretentious. Especially how it was marketed, it was how it was being oversold by many people. I found it very pretentious. But okay, now we got Luca. This is one of those summer Pixar films that usually these films, they come off a kind of like a mixed bag once in a while. I think that most of the time it happened kind of like with like The Good Dinosaur, in which they don't go extremely with with the immense pretty textures and make it so realistic and all these things. But well, it's time for me to talk about this movie that according to the trailers, it feels very inspired by the coast of Italy. I've never been there, but I wish I could go there in one of these days, probably. And so I have not exactly too much background around this movie. I just saw the trailer and wait for the best. And it wasn't shown in the movie theaters, unfortunately. You had to get Disney Plus, which of course I didn't. I saw it because I have it, but don't worry, I got it by link subscription instead of paying it, because I'm not gonna pay a cent to Disney Plus. And honestly, it is really a shame. It is really a shame that unlike bullshit movies like Cruella, or semi-bullshit movies like Raya and the Last Airbender. Raya and the Last Dragon. Please don't send me hate mails. I'm just making a joke out of someone. What I meant is that these movies, Disney had the criminal gall of charging $30 plus the subscription, which is is downright criminal, I would say. But Pixar movies, apparently they feel like they're chump, because look at this. I mean, Soul didn't get Soul. You can watch it without paying extras, which is and neither Luca did that. Apparently they think that they have no faith on Pixar, considering that more than half of your Academy Awards are won by Pixar. Kind of backward mentality they have. And so I just watch it. Luckily, I didn't have to pay $30, and I still find it in an ironic way criminal, because this is a movie that it really deserves to be on the big screen. You're gonna probably hate me for this, but I absolutely like this movie. Really like this movie. I like it. Honestly, I like this movie even better than Soul. Soul, call it out everything you want, but I found Luca having more merit than Soul. And it's mostly out of personal taste, I'll say. So, anyway, let's dive in to tell you about why I like this movie a lot. Because first of all, we're talking about, you know, sea creatures. It's a movie about sea creatures. I'll get into details sooner or later, and the more fantastical the stories are, the better. First off, the synopsis. It centers around these sea monster kid named Luca. He lives under the sea. He's an undersea shepherd. He lives with his mom, father, and grandmother. And you can tell that he's an introverted, bored, insecure. He has a little bit of curiosity of going to the surface despite his mother's warnings, until he meets this boy named Alberto, who is also a sea monster, but he is more extroverted. He did manage to get out of the surface, and of course Luca gets dragged into it, and he also realizes that he can breathe. And every time when he goes out on the air, he basically turns into a human. Apparently, it's kind of like a natural camouflage that they have. It's something magical, so I'm not gonna get into that. But basically, Luca and Alberto, they form a friendship. They begin to learn. They share that they are very curious about the world of humans, and they have aspiration of going around the world by building a Vespa. It's kind of like a brand of motorcycle. But unfortunately, Luca's mother then realizes this. She doesn't want Luca to go there because, of course, you know that there is the bias of monsters, in which if they're seen by humans will basically go for kill them. You know, human bias against monsters. It's technically kind of like this typical story. So of course that she wanted to, in order to make Luca get safe, she just wanted to send him off with this, let's say kind of like the underwater version of Uncle Stinky from the Tiny Toon Adventures characters. But so yeah, Luca runs away, and with Alberto they decide to finally step into the Riviera city in the coast of Italy. There they meet people. They befriended this girl named Julia or Julieta. Julia. Sorry, I read the IMDb. So, and basically, then the movie is about them entering a triathlon in order to get money. Because, well, Luca and Alberto enters to get money to buy a Vespa. Well, Julia is more about pride, in order to teach a lesson to the resident bully, which is this guy named Hercules, who he's a big mean guy with a horrible nasty attitude. But every time I see him, he kinda looks like the evil version of Eugenio Derbez. I don't know why Eugenio Derbez came to my mind. Or maybe he's kind of like an evil Condorito comic character. That's the best way I could describe this. And from that, I think I should stop right now, because if I spoil you the movie, you're gonna get ruined a lot of the experience that I wanted to share. But since I'm talking a little bit about the characters, I'm gonna say that I really love the character. The main cast is really likable. I like the small arcs that Luca has, in which how he started out like an introverted shepherd with curiosity. He is not so sure about himself until he kind of gets a push thanks to the building friendship that he gets with Alberto. those two are technically kind of like opposite personalities, but they get along very well. And then, of course, during the course of the movie, you see how these two characters meld into and get certain new interests, or they keep their interest, and also they build a beautiful friendship with Julia. And Julia also is kind of like she's very likable. And for some reason, the way she dresses, I swear that she kind of dresses like she belongs to Team Aqua from Pokemon. I don't. But that's just kind of like a small nitpick. I also liked her father. Her father is this big fisherman who he doesn't have an arm. He's always but he still knows how to manage himself. He basically becomes a father figure to even Luca and Alberto, and even the movie I like that the movie kind of brushed up, saying that, well, he lost his arm because why? A sea monster eat it. Nah, just kidding. I was born like that. Yeah, you don't need exactly kind of like just a backstory to know why someone lost an arm or something like that. Some people are born like that, and they just do that. I like that thing. I like that there's also kind of like a mini arc on the father that in which he also believes in sea monster and tries to catch it. I also saw there's also the cat. The cat who he notices the weaknesses of Luca and Alberto, that every time they get wet, their sea monster disguise get exposed. And since the cat sees it, he's always trying to attack them, or making this angry sight, which is like yeah, I like that one. But still, also one of the funniest things is that if I go fast forward a little bit during the ending credit, when we see kind of like the art style of the credits showing a kind of like a post credit thing. Apparently, there's a drawing in which of the cat's bowl, or there was another animal bowl, but I don't know if this is the cat's name, but it gave me a laugh, because you won't believe what the name of that cat, and I can't believe that they put it in a movie, like Disney. Even though I actually appreciated that more Disney movies make notice of that. The cat's name, and I don't know if it's the cat or the other animal that I'm not going to exactly reveal, is Caligula. Caligula, one of the most perverted Roman emperors in history. Okay, going a little bit with the roundup of the character, we also have Lucas' mother and father, who they also go to the surface in order to look for Luca, who ran away. And basically it's just them kind of becoming kind of like worry parent, but also the things that they do to other children is borderline kind of like funnily mean-spirited. But I can't blame them, of course, they're desperate. But mostly it's about the mother, who she also trying to think that she maybe went too hard with Luca because she wants to protect them. So you kind of understand that. There's also the triathlon arc, in which it mostly centers on the villain, which is this guy again, this pompous guy named Hercules, who he really looks like an old, kind of like an old man. Again, he kind of looks like Eugenio Derbez's evil twin. He has his cohort, and of course he is really, really nasty. He he basically thinks that he has the whole town under his control, and because well he is very imposing, and every child is like yeah we follow him because the guy, because when you think about it, the guy is lame. He's really lame, but even guys who are lame, when they have this imposing personality, normally people will kind of like get out of their way because well they're rich and anything. So in many people's eyes, maybe you will see him as a lame villain, in which I wouldn't say that he's a lame villain because he's mostly a lame. In personality of the character, he is a lame. But the thing actually counters that the guy has an imposing personality, and some people even technically are stupid enough or not strong-willed enough to say no to garbage like this guy. Let me talk a little bit about the art style and the animation. And I know that it's gonna be very, like I always say, and I be repeated every single time, that every time when I see animated movies from the big, that are supposed to be on the big screen, at least in this case, I always say, well, it's a Disney movie. It's obvious that it's gonna be good. So why bother talking about it? Well, yes, it is obvious that it's gonna be really good, but at least I want to tell you that when you compare this film to big budgeted films like Soul, or how can I say, or what was the name? What was the name again? Oh yeah, Inside Out. You might find that it is kind of like a downgrade. Mostly you will see it that is technically on the level of A Good Dinosaur, let's say. And A Good Dinosaur is still, by many people, still considered one of the weakest animated Pixar films that there is. And I always ask, guys, have you seen Cars 2? So, but this one, I say that the downgrade compared to Soul for Luca, actually it is a big advantage because I prefer this kind of animation. It makes the world a little bit more vibrant, a little bit more colorful. It doesn't feel dull, Honestly, while there's some beautiful looking things in Soul, sometimes even the real world aspect looks so dull. But Luca is kind of like an exception. They wanted to make the ambience feel like you are in a tropical coast, it's almost like you're going in a good day where you go outside in a coastal city having some nice summer vacation. This is what the movie feels like, and I like that the character designs. They didn't exactly go all out to make it look like a different Pixar film, but it did try. The character design feels a little bit that they wanted to inch a little bit out of the typical Pixar design. But this one, so I really like the character designs. Although that, if I had to be a little bit nitpicky, I wish I could push a little bit much on the character design of the sea monsters, mostly on the characters of Luca and Alberto. The mother is fine. The father is fine. What I mean a little bit is that if they could correct it a little bit more, maybe I could. If only they could have stretched out a little bit the snout, a little teensy bit. Because as far as they look at it, I know that they wanted to look like, how can I say, they wanted to look like more human-like. I kind of wish that they could have looked a little bit more dragon-like. But you can tell that they wanted to stick it a little bit closer to the creatures of Black Lagoon. funny enough, that there is a little bit of a cameo poster of a Creature of the Black Lagoon poster, knockoff poster. I mean, but in my head, I mostly was tempted to call them a sea monkey movie more than sea monster. But each of its own. This is just as kind of like a small nitpick that I do have. What else I can have? The pacing scene, I like it. It doesn't exactly, it's technically kind of like a saving the world or saving something race or something like that. It's basically a couple of children or monster children expanding their horizons, trying to blend with a different society, meeting a new friend, meeting even bullies, and of course they enter a competition in which they begin to practice, and at the same time finding new how can I say, new likes, new possibilities, new challenges, I'll say, and a little bit more about the characters. One thing that I'm not gonna reveal, but at least I'm gonna hint a little bit, is that I really like one expositionary background that it tells us a little bit more about Alberto and let's say someone else, in order to try to not reveal it. But I will say that I really like the direction that it went, because easily it could have gone something like a Disney route, but this time they did something that not many Disney characters deal with, and in a way is heartbreaking. So even though it more feels like an exposition of a character's background, it's not exactly something that Disney technically tries to explore. Because it's all about family unity, let's say. But when I heard about Alberto, this kind of broke my heart a little bit, and but in a good way, and makes me feel bad for the character, and makes you understand the character personality and why he thinks that, and the things that he learned. I do remember that I really like some of that. Most of his experience is what he just see and try to adapt. For example, when he tries to greet people, I really love that the first word that it comes from his mouth is like ¿Qué anda pasando, estúpido? I also probably am gonna remember that his biggest catchphrase is the biggest catchphrase of the movie, in which it says that if you want to jump into opportunities, and your brain will say, no, don't do that, you're gonna the message of this movie that tries to put you in your head is saying, silencio Bruno. Silencio Bruno. Who's Bruno? If anyone speaks Italian, does brain means in Italian is Bruno? Well, I don't know. But anyway, those are some little things that I do want to say, in which the story pacing might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it's just kind of like a relaxing movie that it doesn't feel too intense, I'll say. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention one thing. Oh my god. This movie is another one of those films that it makes me hungry. Because the father knows how to cook trenette al pesto, which is basically kind of like a spaghetti with pesto sauce. Oh my god, it looks so delicious. Coincidence that 2 weeks ago, it was my first time trying to cook pesto. I did it, and boy, it was delicious, guys. Now I learned how to cook pesto sauce, and it was delicious. You know what? This movie it did make me feel like cooking pesto again, and maybe I'll try to do the cenetta al pesto, almost like in the movie, but this is kind of just a small thing. So, what else I could talk about Luca in a way that in order to fill out a little bit more time in order from this part of the review. Oh, I always, like, it is always tradition of me, even though I really like the movie, it is time for me to be a little bit of a devil advocate in order to not overhype the film. So I already talked to you that a little bit of the pacing can say make people feel like, oh, the plot is not exactly moving along or something like that. Although it does fine, I'll say. The story, well, it can become predictable, let's say. Using kind of like these kind of films in a lot of things. In a way, I feel that there are some plot elements that it feels like the another Goofy movie. But you know what? Again, I don't think that it is a problem, because the more movies you make, the more you feel like wanting to make kind of like a different approach with kind of like the same ingredients. Almost like cooking, you do the same thing, but you put some different spices, and as long as it feels well done, it is fine. And obviously, when you watch many movies, you're gonna have some familiar territory, which is basically something unavoidable. So the similarities to other movies is not exactly my problem. Although there are some things that this movie technically kind of forget, in which my only nitpick that I can say about this movie, that I'll say that they should have paid attention a little bit more, is the fact that when the mother and the father character they get out for the first time into the surface, they begin to act like it's their first time going up, but unfortunately they kind of miss the chance of having them struggle with walking, which is weird because because at the beginning of the movie, when Luca gets into the surface, we get he struggles to get on his feet, because he is used to swimming and to have the balance from his tail. So, and it took some hints from Alberto for him to finally learn how to walk. We didn't get that with the mother and the father. They kind of missed the opportunity of them trying to struggle to get on their feet. So this is kind of like a nitpick that I have. And what else I can say? There are some things that could have been polished a little bit, but honestly, I don't think that right on my mind I can describe which is which. I like the film better than I expected. Which honestly, of all the Disney stuff that came out, I find Luca a million times better than Cruella, and I find this movie actually better than Raya and the Last Dragon, mostly because, and even I find it's better than Soul, because one of the things that I noticed on Luca compared to Soul is that there is a little bit of an air of pretentiousness in this one. Even Raya had a little bit of an air of pretentiousness. But of course that in Raya's case, I did find that Raya's biggest problem is that it was very, very naive. And the message was so naive, and it's a terrible message. But Luca, it just didn't feel like it wanted to be too big. It wanted to just create a simple story of two sea monsters expanding their horizons and trying to blend into a human society thanks to a kind girl that probably belonged to Team Aqua. Sorry, it's her wardrobe that kind of made me a little bit joke about that. So, do I recommend Luca? Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely recommend it. I absolutely really like this film more than I expected. It's not gonna be exactly kind of like my favorite. Coco is my top spot of my favorite Pixar movie. So if you want a movie that it is gonna make you feel good and makes you hungry for pesto, and so check it out. And if you kind of see big problems in this movie, I think that this movie kind of deserves the excuse for you to say that Silencio Bruno, just enjoy the film.